Welcome back. Today I'm going to try to play a rapid chess game on camera. I'm going to increase the increment from 0 to 2, so I'm going to play a 10+2 game. That means I'll get 2 seconds added to the clock every time I make a move, and so will my opponent. If you're not familiar with my channel, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach. I'm just a random person that enjoys chess, and I'm trying to get better at it. My rapid rating has hovered between 1100 and 1200 for quite a while now. I did break 1200 once or twice over the past month, but then dropped back into the 1100s. But I've been playing 10+0 rapid the entire time, and I'm going to try 10+2. I don't even know if I'll get paired. If I don't, after a couple of minutes, I'll switch back to 10+0 and see if it makes any difference. Let's just go ahead and click start. All right, well, that was a fun experiment. I waited quite some time and did not get paired, so I've just gone back to 10+0 rapid and usually get paired almost immediately, as we did here. Let's see if we can play a French defense, see what my opponent will do. They have done that. Okay. Are we going to get the exchange variation, or are we going to transpose into the advanced variation? I'm never quite sure what to expect in this position. Very often they'll take, sometimes they will push forward. I think those are the only two things I've seen here. I guess I've seen d4. My opponent seemed like they hadn't expected that to happen, but it did happen, so I think I can take that and be all right. And then should we, trade here? I don't know. See if they want to. If they don't, I'm just going to move the bishop up, I think, and then castle. Well, I mean, if they... Yeah, okay. I meant if they left that there, I was going to take it. But they did that instead, so I honestly have no idea why they would do that. I'm going to push this pawn up, see what the plan is here. I don't think they'll go back to where they were, but they might go back to h3. That's what I would do in this... Oh, they went back there. I'm just going to take that and then put this knight back here, I think. And we're just a piece ahead on move 7. I think I'm okay with that. Let's see if they want to trade bishops. Some people do want to trade bishops right away. They did. Okay. And they have put their queen in front of their king. Well, I said I was going to castle, so let me do that. It looks like they're about to castle queenside. So should I start throwing pawns forward, or should I get my queen out in front of that first? I really don't know. I'm going to throw the pawn forward. I'm not comfortable with getting my queen out there just yet. So let's start with the pawn. I assume they're going to push one of these pawns to keep me from getting all the way there. They did not. They've come over here. It's possible that pawn can get through there, but I don't think it can. So I'm going to keep going this way. Now, if the g-pawn comes forward... Oh, the g-pawn did not. They put their knight back. Okay. So I'm guessing they want to push the f-pawn. I think I should develop more pieces before I get my pawns overextended there. I just realized my bishop and knight still had not moved. So let's put this knight here, and it can possibly help out with what's going on. Okay. Well, they want to come after the knight. They also want to break open the pawns. I understand that. Well, if I move the knight, they're going to push that forward anyway and try to break this open. But I think I'll be okay. I'm going to move the knight. They're going to push that forward. I'm going to take it. I assume they would take back. Oh, they didn't. Okay. Then I'm not sure what to do. Okay. I guess I could check them, but then they're just going to move out of check. I say let's keep pushing these pawns here now that all my pieces are developed. Are they going to push the g-pawn now? They did not. Okay. I didn't hear that move, but I might have talked over it. Well, let's keep the f-pawn from coming any further forward with this. I'm not really attacking the queen. I'm just blocking the f-pawn here. In case anybody was curious, I don't usually engage in little one-move threats that are easily avoided. Usually. I suppose I should protect the knight. I didn't, but I suppose I should. I could protect it with a pawn. I could protect it by putting the queen here. Can they do anything about that? I think I want to put the queen there and see what they do, because I don't think they can come after the knight with any other piece right now, and then I can move the knight and pin their queen to the king. Although if I move the knight, then they could push the pawn forward. So I'm going to move the knight. I think I'm going to put the knight over here. Let's see. No, I want to put the knight. I want to put the knight on h3. That's going to force this trade here. I think they can't. I mean, they can take the knight. Okay, did I just give up a piece? Yeah, that's what happened. I just gave up a piece. Wow, I did not calculate that correctly. Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Would definitely not be the first time that I didn't calculate something correctly. I thought I had figured out something, genius, but it was not. They're going to do that. Okay. If I take it, they push this forward. I think I'm okay, though, right? There's nothing they can do about that. I don't think. They push this forward, and then I take it. Well, they're going to put their knight there, but the knight can't really get anywhere from there, can it? Come here. That's bad for them. This is bad for them, I think. They can get in there, so I should put my king up there, I think. If they push that forward, I think I'm going to push this pawn forward, and then their pawn is just stuck. Because I don't think I want to take it with their rook back there. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think I just want to push past. Nope, and then they can check me over there. Okay. Yeah, I've got to take it. Darn, I did not want to do that. Yeah, see, now they're getting out of the way of this. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. Oh, no. All right. Well, I suppose I can do this so they end up taking with their knight first instead of the rook, or I guess they could still take with their rook first. They did. Okay. And I may be messed up here now, although I'm still a pawn ahead, but it's not looking great. They've penetrated my castle's position, so good job to my opponent. I think I'm going to get their knight, right? Because if they move the knight, I'm going to get the rook, I think. Maybe I'm okay. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. They also, oh no, they don't have that either because I'm guarding that square. So maybe they'll push this pawn trying to get rid of my knight. Oh, they did that because they want to check me. But first, I think I'm going to take their knight. Or should I push forward again? I should push forward again so I don't lose another pawn. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push forward again so I don't lose this pawn. And now I think they need to run away with their rook, and then I'll get the knight. Oh, well, that's why that didn't work. So I should have just taken the knight. Okay. Well, then if they go back, I'll take the knight and give up the pawn. Okay. They're going to get both of those pawns, which I guess I'll have to live with. Well, let's go here so I don't get in the way of my rook. They'll get that pawn, but then I'll get this pawn. Yeah, I will get this pawn right here because my bishop's guarding that square. They can trade rooks with me here, but then or they can do that. That is a thing that they can do. Now, where are they going to go? Drop back? Or they can take the rook. If they take the rook, I'm going to take their rook. I haven't figured out which one. Oh, they did that. See, now I have to decide which rook to take. I'm going to take this one here because that leaves the other one still in danger. I guess I will... Oh, no. I don't want to put this here because then I'll end up getting pinned by their bishop. Well, they can't pin me now. They can move it, and then I can go around. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go around it and keep pressuring their rook. And then I need to bring mine at some point. But what I didn't want to do was get trapped behind my bishop so when they could put pressure on it. Let's see, is that where I want to go with this? Or do I want to go all the way down? I'm not sure. I need to put the rook somewhere. Oh, I only have 4 minutes left. Okay, got to think about this. You know what? Let's push this pawn first. That way, when I get the rook here, I can put the bishop here to protect my rook. And then do this. Yeah, so now I don't have to worry about, like, if they want to put pressure on my bishop right now, I can just drop my bishop back. And then we can do a rook trade. Yeah, like so. And if they want a rook trade, I'm happy for it. Although, I mean, they could check me here. Let's see if they want to do that. I was kidding. They wanted to do this instead. Okay. Well, I'm going to come toward their rook because, again, my rook is protected by the bishop. That was the whole reason I just moved this e-pawn. They can check me again. They can check me again here, but they're going to start running out of places to check me. Oh, the bishop's defended there, sir, and or madam. Well, got to figure out something to do, and the knight is required to defend the bishop. I'm going to move a pawn. Maybe they want to take that. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take that with en passant. And I'm going to take that with check, and then I'll come back to defend the bishop, I think. Ooh, that's interesting. What if I defended the bishop this way? Maybe that's good, because then the knight's defended. The knight wasn't defended where it was before. Or I'm going to take this bishop and let them have mine, I think. Oh, you know what? I want to check them, and if they take this pawn, then I'll have a fork. Do you think they'll take the pawn? Let's see if they take the pawn. Yeah, they did take the pawn, so I'm going to get their rook here, and I think this is over. It is over because I have a rook and they just have a king and a couple of pawns. I am going to have to get rid of those pawns, though. They are still ahead on time by over a minute. So, oh, they have abandoned the game. Okay, well, that's very poor sportsmanship. So I'm going to say where it says, I almost never answer this question where it asks if they were a good sport. I'm going to say they were not a good sport in this one because of the abandonment. That's just really poor sportsmanship. Even if an emergency arose and you had to get called away, you have time to resign. The button's right there. It may be not as easy as abandoning, but it's pretty easy. I do like that on chess.com, when the opponent abandons, the system detects that pretty quickly and marks it as abandoned and gives you the win. Whereas on some other sites, you have to wait quite a while if somebody abandons a game. Anyway, I am going to run the game review, and I think I've been ahead ever since my opponent gave up the knight on move 6 or 5, 7, one of those early moves. But it's possible that I made a mistake and I was not ahead that entire time. I did make a huge mistake there, and they came back to very close to even Well, let's go to right here. Okay, now see here, I put my knight on f6. I did not realize that Stockfish would have preferred either bishop to e7 or knight to d7. So was knight to f6 bad? It bumped it up a few, percentage points, but not horrible. And it says they should have taken it. That's what I expected. And I was going to take with my queen. And then my opponent would have had a very slight edge. They would have played d4. It says I would have played h6 then, but probably not. I probably would have gotten out my other knight or one of my bishops. That's what I expected. So I was surprised when they went in here. And h6 was my best move. And that's when here I thought they were going to drop back this way, which is their best move. Their second best move, it says, is to check me. But had they checked me, I would have blocked with this pawn, and then they would have had two pieces hanging. But it says they would have taken here, and I would have taken with my king, and they would have dropped their bishop back, which would have been a check. Now, that wouldn't have been a check because this pawn's in the way. That's their second best thing, is to check me, put their bishop in danger, leave their bishop in danger, and take my f7 pawn with that knight. Okay, so yeah, this really surprised me. I thought it was a blunder because it just gives up a piece, but I wasn't 100% certain because every now and then there's some of these openings, especially the e-pawn openings, where one player gives up a knight in the middle, but the other player's destined to get it back in 3 moves later if they know the opening. I don't know that one. I've just seen it. I thought, wait, why am I supposed to give up the knight? And that's because you can get it back. But I was pretty sure this wasn't one of them. And Stockfish says you should have just accepted the loss of the knight and played d4, which is the better pawn position. But instead they attacked the knight, which just tells me to go back, which is where I wanted it in the first place. But then I made a mistake way down here on move 19. So I was ahead -3, almost -4 for some time here. -4 looks like staying right around -4, getting close to -5. Yeah, there's -5 right there. Oh, it says a4 was my best move here. Okay. Well, good for me. And after they played a2 to keep my, or a3 to keep my a-pawn from continuing to move, I should have played b4 now. Okay. Because I have a knight on that. That makes sense. Why didn't I even think of that? For some reason, I kept thinking of this knight as going over here someplace. Actually, I was just thinking of that knight as having gotten out of danger from those pawns. I wasn't even thinking about going to the queen side with that knight. So instead of playing b4, I put my knight over there, which is something I had been thinking about. The engine suggests queen to e1 or queen to d2, but they played queen to e3, which is just a little worse, but not that much. It's still very close to the -4s, -5s, and I should have just put it back. And it says they would have gone to d2 at that point, but if I'm actually this far ahead, nearly -5, and I went back, wouldn't they have gone back too to try to get a repetition out of it? I don't know. That's what I should have done. Or queen to g5, which is what I played. The problem with that is that when they played rook to e1, I tried to get fancy, and that did not work because their queen is defended now. And it wasn't just a pin like I had originally planned. I should have played b4 or rook f to c8. Was there any other knight move that made sense? For example, bringing the knight back. Would that have been okay? See, that would not have been a blunder, like putting it over there where it's in danger from that bishop. Okay. I was curious about that because I kept thinking of other places to put the knight. But over there it's a blunder because I just gave up the knight. What about this? That would have also been a mistake, if not a blunder, because they can take it with the bishop. Okay. What about back here? Same thing? Yeah, that's even worse. Okay. So this was the only place I could have moved the knight over here back to d5 that would have forced the queen trade like I was thinking, because I was up a piece. That's what I was thinking, is that I'm up a piece. If I can force the queen trade, then I can just trade off the other pieces one by one, but I did it wrong. Okay. So not as close to even as the graph made it look like. The graph said 0.8 or something like that, but I'm still up -1. After they take, I take their queen with check. I'm still up -1. After they take back, I made a further inaccuracy here. I should have played knight to b6 or knight to f6. Oh, maybe trying to get this knight up here where the other one was? Is that what that's about? Trying to go to b6 or f6 so I can get to d5, where I would still control what the square where the rook is, and f4, maybe? I don't know if that's what that's about or not. However, I went the wrong way. That doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, that didn't make sense. Why did I play that? Did I say something when I played that would explain it? I don't remember. But yeah, those two make so much more sense. I completely understand why this is counted as inaccurate. Okay, now it's 0.4. So basically back to even. If they'll play d4, which makes a lot of sense. I just put my knight there where they can attack it with d4, which is where they should have put the d-pawn in the first place, but they played the g-pawn, which I can just take. And then they still should play d4, but instead they put the knight up here. I should have played rook a to c8 now. Not worried about this. I should have not worried about the h-file. Okay, but I did worry about the h-file. Oh, I could have played f5. Why didn't I think of that? I could have just played f5. And it says they would have left the knight there? No. If I play f5, they're going to move the knight, right? Stockfish wouldn't. Stockfish would play d4 here. Okay. But a lesser version of Stockfish would play knight to h2. Okay. Oh, why didn't I see f5 in that position? That's perfect, because the knight can't come down here or here because my g-pawn is protecting those. Can't come over here because of my d-pawn. Their rook's in the way. So yeah, the knight would have to retreat to either f2 or h2. I should have seen f5. Okay, but I didn't. I got worried about those pawns. I'm still up just a little bit if they'll play d4. Okay, or no, rook to g1. d4 was listed there for several seconds, but then at the last, just before it quit counting, rook to g1 appeared, but it doesn't give a line after that. What if they had played rook to g1? I still need to put a rook on c8. It's been wanting that for me for a long time. Okay, but instead they played h6, which was a mistake. I should have ignored it and put a rook on c8. Okay, so my opponent kept missing d4. I kept missing putting a rook on the c8 square, which could have been either one of them, although it's usually the a one. A couple of times I think it said the f rook, or f5 again. Would have been fine. But I took that pawn, which wasn't horrible. I'm still at -2. Let's go back. It's -2.5 if I play my two best moves and right at -2. And they still need to play d4 or bishop to f1, which they did. Okay, that's what I expected them to play to get the out of the way of this. And I should have played f5 again. I finally did play f5. You remember, you were here, right? Okay. I didn't see you, but that's because I'm in the past. That's just how recording works. And I thought they were going to take, I thought they were going to take with the knight. I thought that's what f5 forced, so I was surprised when they took with the rook. I go to g7, they have to back up. Oh, okay, I wondered about this. I thought I made a mistake by going up here because they could check me again, but I didn't. Stockfish says that's just fine. And in fact, the game review thought it was my best move. Of course, it was their best move to check me again and my best move to go back. But when they go back up, I have to take the knight now because I can't keep repeating. So I take the knight, they take the pawn. Should have gone to f6. Really? I didn't want to get in front of my rook because I wanted my rook to take that pawn. This wasn't horrible. Still 2.5. They're going to get the other pawn, and then I'm going to get f3. This very intelligent chess computer had a hard time deciding which piece I should have taken with, so I also had a hard time deciding, but I was pretty sure that if I took with the rook, it would encourage a rook trade. But the engine says they should not trade here. They should drop this one back and just give up that pawn, or bring their king to defend that rook. If they had done that, I would have taken it. But instead they checked me, which was a big mistake because I can come toward it. Okay, making sure. And after this, it wasn't in doubt, was it? Okay, I had a couple of great moves here, and my opponent had a further inaccuracy and mistake. But just checking the graph again. Where are we on the graph? Okay, yeah, it never got better for my opponent after that. All right, well, my 10+2 experiment didn't work out. I know there's thousands of players on this site all the time, but a bunch of them are rated lower than me and a bunch of them are rated higher than me, so I wouldn't get paired with them anyway. And of the ones near my rating, many of them are not looking for rapid games right now. And the ones that are probably looking at the 15+10 or the 10+0, which I think are the two most common. So yeah, nobody was looking for a 10+2 game. That's okay. It was worth a shot. Thank you for spending your time here. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.